Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and let's talk about Web3, especially Web3 in video games. So, let's start off with what is Web3? Because, like it or not, it is coming to our games. So, Web3 is what some technologists call the idea of using decentralized blockchain for all kinds of data in video games, including like crypto. So there's blockchain and NFTs, all of those things that give us such a visceral reaction when we hear about it within video games. And so, an example of when I say visceral reaction is how the EVE Online players have reacted to hearing that CCP Games got $40 million in funding for a new game that is Web3. And so it hasn't gone over well. The initial reactions were very, very harsh, and players threatening to quit, and a lot of misconceptions. I think, though, that the initial reaction seeing from EVE players is actually reminiscent of the reaction that we see from other game communities where they announce that they're going to put in NFTs or something like that within the video games that people already love and are playing. And so, I work a lot with CCP for EVE Online. And so, since I have good communication with them, I asked myself, or I asked them, a couple of questions about this, because I wanted to make sure that our beloved game of EVE Online was not going to be harmed by what it was that CCP was doing. So I asked them, is this a separate company or is it under CCP? And basically what they told me is they created an independent team within CCP to work on the game. The majority of the team are new hires. This includes some past CCP staff who are returning for the new project. Oh, that's interesting. Who would be coming back? Oh, we've had some good people that have left in the past. And a small number of current CCP staff also are taking opportunity to work on the project. So, anyway, primarily new people, meaning new hires or rehires, people who are not currently on the payroll. So then I asked also, are players' fears that this project will impact EVE development founded in any way? And here's what they said. They said, no, they are separate teams. Development of the new project has had minimal impact upon the development of EVE Online growth and the EVE Online team. So while it is under CCP, it is a completely separate group from what I'm reading into this. So external and independent funding means no dependency or use on any current revenue streams within CCP. This is the really big deal part about it here. As players, we worry that this NFT stuff or this Web3 stuff is going to harm the development of our game. We don't want it to take away from the development either, even if this is a separate game. And so it's very good that they made it a point to say that it's not related to the revenue stream from EVE Online. So, and then they said CCP as a whole will benefit from new talent. A new project joining the CCP family means a wealth of new experience. This is true. We do see stuff from other projects make its way into EVE, and we see stuff that's great in EVE make its way into other projects. And so, yeah, this sounds interesting. All right, so it that looks promising. Okay, now are all of the doom and gloom that we're hearing from players, is that founded? Well, probably about this much. And that's just my take on it. So there's always things that change later. after the fact. But what needs to happen here is what I'm about to tell you all that Web3 games suffer from, what the issue is here, why we all have such a visceral reaction to it, and how it can be good for us. So I don't hate the technology. The technology is fine. It's how it's being applied. So what's wrong with Web3 games so far? The games being built are showcasing Web3. Okay, let me just think about that for a second. What is it you look for in a game? Do you look for the technology? So it's all about the Web3 tech that can be, shown, all these things that we can do in a video game. All praise Web3. That's the way it currently is. And I mean, seriously, that is a turnoff. Now, at the very beginning, with the whole NFT craze and everything, we saw that get really exciting. A lot of people trading NFTs and everybody wanting to make NFTs and stuff. And we've all seen what's happened. They've all gone to almost zero. And if not zero, I mean, it's so close that it's not even worth doing anything with it anymore. Even some of the stuff that was worth many thousands of dollars is 1% of what it was. Somebody's going to correct me and say, no, it's actually 2. Well, that's fine. It's still not for the masses, now is it? So what is it that we need with Web3 games? Transparency. And I'm not talking about transparency saying, oh, we're using Web3 and it's going to be glorious and here's how we're using it and all of those things. No, players don't care. What I mean by transparency is it's in there and we don't even know it, because that is what's needed. Because games are about fun. That's why we play the games. We play the games for fun. We play them to escape. They are an alternate reality for us. They are something to forget our daily lives. And, well, some of us make it our daily lives, but those are the super hardcore players, and it's for getting away. It's not for, like play to earn, which I forgot to mention earlier. Play to earn is one of the technologies within the whole Web3 category. Don't even get me started on that, because that's just a grind. That's like, that's just going to attract all the people who think they're going to make money in the games, and they're going to become rich by playing a video game. It doesn't quite work that way. Not when everybody has the same idea. If you were first to market on that, first one to try it, well then, yeah, you can make a ton. But the thing is, the world doesn't work that way. So, all right. So if it's all about fun, then how do we deal with stuff like this? How do we, what do we need to see in the games? And it really comes back to, we need to not see anything. So out of all the vendors at GDC, which I was at not too long ago, I talked with, probably at least 40 different people at the expo floor, 40 different companies that were dealing with Web3. And this is why I say it's coming, whether we like it or not, because there's all these companies out there that are throwing all this money at Web3, going, all hail Web3. And it's very apparent that there's a lot of money here, which is probably a lot of dumb crypto money. Those who have made it into everything, made it all the way in making big bucks with crypto and everything. They are, now looking to get back into the real world, let's say. because you don't earn nearly as much these days off of trading crypto as you did in the past. And in fact, I pretty recently sold all of my crypto, all of it. I cashed out. And because I don't see the trend long term at this point going much further. Sure, the market may go up, and I'm sure it will for some things, especially for projects that do this kind of stuff really well, that is completely transparent to the players. But yeah, I finally offloaded all of it. So there was only 2 companies out of all of them that I talked to that had what I thought was the right path, the right pitch for video games, for Web3 technology. And one of them, now this company, I just want to preface this, I don't know a whole lot about them. This is not an endorsement for them. They don't know I'm making this video. And but I want to mention who they are, because they did to me look as the best solution out of everybody at GDC. But again, it's not an endorsement, not being paid by them or nothing. Nobody's paying me for this video. And but so I just want to say that. But see, I'm trepidatious because even I am afraid of the Web3. Yeah. So all right. So this company is called Scale, Skale. And what they had something up on an advertisement in their booth that said basically that all of their Web3 was 100% invisible to players. That's where they had me, because that was the exact thing that I've identified has been needed, is that it is needed that this isn't a thing, that if you want to run all that stuff in the background because it makes it easier for your game to operate, that's great. But for the sake of having Web3 in your game, forget it. So anyway, this company Scale, they do NFT transfers, they do NFT generation. They have their own cryptocurrency, and so then my next thing was, okay, so I know to transfer an NFT from one person to another, there's gas. Gas being the cost for sending it over the blockchain to another person. And it's the cost for a transaction. And so anyway, they said there's 0 gas fees back to the players. So in essence, what that means is if I'm playing some game that has blockchain on the back end and supporting NFTs or whatnot, and my sword that I've got here is an NFT, and I hand it to another player, and they hand me gold back or whatever, or some other item, doesn't matter, that the transactions happen transparently in the background. And so I still own that item. Well, own is a very interesting word, because really what you do is you just have license to use it, typically. And so anyway, if that's all transparent to us, then I think we have something here. I think that we have a very good back end for keeping track of items, for keeping track of transactions and stuff like this. And if the gas in these is part of the service plan for the game publishers, in essence, what they said is that a game publisher would have a server with them, and that server would handle the transactions along with other servers handling the transactions, like blockchain does, where it does verifications on multiple to lock it in. And so they would do it for some of the other games, and the other games would do it for them. So it also makes it so that you can transfer between games. Now that's a whole nother story. And so when we talk about transferring items between games like NFTs and stuff, don't get your hopes up, because unless all of the games are made on the same engine, using the same theme, same art style and everything, you can't just transfer one item to another. It has to be remade on that other one for you to be able to receive it and then appear correctly and be used correctly. So don't get all excited about that, because that's a whole nother can of worms, which I will talk about at sometime in the future. So, so we are about to see a whole bunch of Web3 games coming down the pipe that are going to suck. And I've already been in talks with one game that that already has a Web3 component in it. That at the beginning they were really gung ho about showing off the technology. I know the game is fun. How fun, we're going to have to wait and see. But they were all, gung ho about showing off the technology and everything. And then as the temperature changed from the players, they then decided to really mute that portion of it and focus more on the fun in the game. Good job. I will be showing that on the show here sometime in the future. Not sure when, but it'll be this year. And for good or bad, we're going to find out. I also will take a look at a few other of the Web3 games coming out, but I'm not so interested. You're not going to hold my attention very long if it's all about the technology. The game's got to be fun. And that's who's going to win in this area. The people who have the best tech are not going to win in this area. The people who have the best fun in their games are going to win in this area. Really, that's it. So if it happens to have Web3 stuff and that's how you do it, great. But it's really about who has the most fun in the game. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. And, coming back around to the game company I work with, CCP, and my hopes for what they could do on their Web3, project that they've got going on. I hope it's a fun game. And I hope that it's pretty transparent as to what all the Web3 technology is behind it. Maybe they can pioneer something out of this. As long as they make it fun, I'm down. And I look forward to it. But if it's all about the tech, that's going to be a super hard sell. And I think that second half of this year is going to be the year of Web3 games, like it or not. I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.